Thank you. My name is Gilbert Armenta. I'm the 5th generation farmer in Bloomfield. We actually live in Largo, but our mailing address is out of Bloomfield. Now, we're here to talk about fracking. We're going to talk about fracking. You're a little bit too late. You're done lost. You lost everything. I want to go before fracking. My parents, they signed the leases for oil and gas development back about 1935. And the leases are for 5 years, so by 1940 the leases were up, and there was a gentleman that bought all the pinto beans from all the people in the valley. The valley was almost 100% agriculture. In fact, it was 100%. So in order to sell your beans, you took them to the warehouse. The warehouse was owned by Willie Hare. So if you needed to sell your beans, you sold them to Willie. The oil industry had contracted with Willie to go around and buy all the gas leases. And this oil company was Stan Line of Indiana, which is the Rockefellers. For $25, you could lease your minerals for 5 years. They'd done it several times, and they never drilled. They'd get paid $25 every time they signed their contracts. So about 1945, it was time to release. And they said, hey, easy $25. That'd pay the taxes for 5 years. The taxes were small, they weren't very much. Well, about 1947, guess what? They drilled. 1947, I was 3 months old when they drilled the well. Today, I'm a little over 65 years old. That first well they drilled back then is still producing. Those leases will not go away when the person that signs them dies. They won't go away when the person that buys them dies. You will live with them leases forever. If you sign a lease today, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your great-grandkids will live with the sin that you committed today for pennies. Now, I get a royalty check every month. And the royalty check is quite large. But by the time they take this out, take that out, and then we divide it between all of us, which is the federal government, which owns the majority of the lease on our place, out of, say, a $35,000 check, I might collect $80 to $90. That'll be my share. But on my land, where the lease is, it's 640 acres. And on the 640 acres, that's a pool. I have 12 wells. I got 4 compressors. The nearest well to my place is less than 250 feet. I have to smell that stuff day in and day out. Not only do I smell it and put up with it, so does my family. There is no way that all the money on this earth is going to keep me healthy, or my kids, or my wife, or my neighbors. They say, well, oil and gas development will bring a lot of money to the area. There will be people employed. Well, the people that get employed will not be the people that live there. In my case, the Hispanic population was quite heavy when the oil and gas industry started. We controlled all the politics. We could vote for our representatives, our state senators, our assessors. All the government in our county was pretty well controlled by the Hispanics. Today, if you're Hispanic and you want a position in the politics and government, and you put your name in the hat to run for something, you can't even, if you ran for dog catcher of San Juan County and you're Hispanic, you will not win, because we can't put the votes together to put ourselves in. We are not able to control our future in San Juan County no longer. San Juan County is about 96% owned by the federal government or the Indian tribes. Only a small portion of that county is privately owned. Prior to oil and gas, the Hispanics owned 80% of the private land. Today, we own less than 3%, but the Hispanic population has increased, but our power has decreased. Now, they say oil and gas development will bring you economic opportunity. Well, shortly after World War II, all the boys returning from the Army, from the Navy, from the service, and a lot of them were prisoner of war from the Philippines. San Juan County was hit hard when the Philippines were defeated. They came back, they tried, the boom started in 1950. The reason the boom started was because there was a pipeline put in from the San Juan Basin to California. Now they had a way to get rid of the product. So the boom started very heavily. When the oil and gas company came in, they came in with their own people. They would not hire the natives, the locals. Finally, after a lawsuit was filed by the federal government in 1956 to force the oil companies to hire Hispanics, to hire Indians, did the oil companies relent and start hiring minorities. But if you got hired, you were hired with a pick and shovel job. The better jobs were always held by the Anglos. And most of them were from Texas, Oklahoma, or Arkansas. They bring in colored people in the pipe yards to Broomfield. This is 1953. Even the colored kids, my age, that were in grade school, were not allowed to attend school because of the color of their skin. That's how bad things were. Now they say things have gotten better. I heard it twice today. Not in San Juan County, not in the San Juan Basin. Things have gotten worse. You will not find hardly any big employers that are Hispanic. They're all not. Then also, if you want to be in the government, like I've already said, there is no representation for us. Now, if you own mineral rights, it's best that you don't lease ever. They will not take care of you. If they contaminate the soil, they'll pay you off to shut you up. They won't fix the problem. Now, we have in San Juan County, well over 50,000 wells, and another 50,000 will be added. Now, a section, a pool, under the state of New Mexico law, you can sink 36 wells in a pool. Now, every time you turn around, they find a new formation to drill into. Right now, the Mancos Shale is a big thing. And they say that will be our next big boom. With every boom that we get, with every time we have a boom, we have an influx of people that are undesirable. That's what comes first. And usually, when the boom goes to bust, the undesirable people are the last ones to leave. Now, if you want to invite oil and gas into your community, first thing you do is build you a good jail. You're going to need it. You're going to have a lot of crime coming to your area. Drugs, domestic violence is one of our biggest concerns in our county. There is nothing good I can say about oil and gas. I will never support the oil and gas industry. If you badmouth them, they'll take you to court. If you testify against them, they'll take you to court. That's all they're good for, because they've got all the attorneys and all the power in this earth. Now, they say economically, if you're going to be an oil and gas company, they're going to really put in a lot of money into the area and make everybody wealthy. In my family, I have 5 relatives, closely relatives, that have been killed in the oil and gas industry. Starting with my dad. My dad was killed in 1967 in an oil and gas explosion. Now, my mother was left widowed, and the measly $95 a month is what they paid her. Now, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, and they shell out less than peanuts. Now, following my dad, I had 2 uncles that died in the oil and gas industry, both, one in an explosion, one's a truck driver. Then I had a nephew, my sister's son, was killed at Navajo Dam, also in the oil and gas industry. And I had 2 cousins killed in Mammoth, Utah. And just 30 days ago, my wife's cousin, 300 feet into the Colorado state line going to Durango, got killed in an oil and gas industry accident. Now you tell me, is it worth it? Is oil and gas worth it to be paid? Do you have to pay for it in blood? Because that's what we've been paying for in Brookville now. Those 5 members of my family are not the only ones that died. Now here in Colorado, I've been reading where there's a farmer up here in Rocky Ford that raised a few melons, and 20 people have died eating melons. 20 people. That's a lot. But if you figure the amount of people have been killed in oil and gas, 20 people is not a drop in the bucket. So they're already suing this farmer here, and they're probably going to put him out of business. But you take BP last year in the Gulf, and you take ExxonMobil up on the Valdez in Alaska. It don't matter how bad you sue them. They got the money, and you will never put them out of business. So now, where does the economics come in? If you're dead, laying on a cold slab, how much money can they give you or your family to bring that person back to life? There ain't enough money. It will never happen. And it's not for us to say, well, it is good for the community. It is good for the people that we have to have oil and gas. No, you don't need oil and gas. If you don't have it, don't invite it. Now, I was told yesterday that we have bears coming into the area, black bears. I look kind of scary, kind of maybe mean. Well, in San Juan County, where I'm from, we don't have bear problems. What we have is snake problems. We've got a lot of snakes. They're slimy, and they'll come into your place, and they pretend to be something else. Now, you know a snake will shed its skin 2 times a year, but it's still a damn snake. And we have plenty of oil and gas people, of nothing but damn snakes over there. I don't support oil and gas. I live with it. I have to. That's my home. But it's not the way I would like it. I would like to have a better life for me, my family. Now, this oil and gas has been in the ground for millions and millions of years. If you talk to a geologist, he'll tell you 200 million years. Now, if we take all this oil and gas that's in the ground today, and we use it, what are we leaving for the next few generations coming behind us? Now, the next generation coming behind us, we're going to say, our great-grandparents or people before us squandered everything we had. Now, we let all this gas out of the ground. Why is that gas down there? Is it like a balloon? When you let the air out of a balloon, is this air going to go? Is this gas down here protecting us from something? Do we need to waste everything we have? I don't think so. I believe that what we have is to share, not just for our generation, but every generation that comes after us. We are a nation of waste. We waste everything. Now you look at it, and 500 years ago, there was a gentleman and a crew that came over with 3 ships, 3 little boats, traveled many thousands of miles to get over here, and they used a little bit of wind to get here. Now we use millions and millions of gallons of gas every day to move back and forth. Now, if we could move thousands of miles 500 years ago with air, with a little wind, why can't we move on from this dependency of oil and gas to something better for our families? Thank you.